Yeah, I mean that's our number one source of new leads is people reaching out. It's really just reputation, right? We don't have some giant marketing budget. You're probably not seeing us pop up on Google anywhere. If you type in
Sure.
elevators, you're going to see four big companies before you get to our name. Um, but a lot of it's just reputation. People talking and they're happy with us. I'm not happy with my elevator company. You have any recommendations? So that's really where I'd say probably 80% of our new business comes from is
Well,
just people finding us, hearing about us, and wanting to reach out.
hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group. I am your host, Matt Allred. In this podcast, we talk to the people whose lives and careers are dedicated to the vertical transportation industry to inform and share lessons learned, building upon the foundation of those who have gone before to inspire the next generation of elevator careers. Today we are joined by Aaron Bailey, Sales Director at Star Elevator, based in the San Francisco Bay Area. Aaron holds a degree in mechanical engineering and began his career with TK Elevator immediately after graduating. With over a decade of experience in sales and sales management, Aaron takes pride in sharing his experience with customers, helping them make informed decisions about their elevator systems. Well, Aaron, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.
Thank you. I'm excited to be able to talk a little bit more. You've got a unique background from the times we've talked before, and I always like sharing interesting stories. So let's start off with just telling us how you got started in the elevator industry.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2011. My background's mechanical engineering. I went to go work for TK Elevator in their product applications department, it was great learning experience to start my career. It was really the custom application, whatever the customer wanted, a unique application, we would make the design to build it. And then from there, I moved into new product design about a year after starting there.
And this was Atlanta, I assume. Is that where headquarters
No,
were
it's
at the time?
headquartered in Germantown, Tennessee.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Okay.
just kind of one of the suburb of Memphis, about 50 miles from their main manufacturing facility.
Okay. So was that prior to, I mean, prior to building the test tower and everything in the Atlanta area then?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So they still do the manufacturing, from what I understand, in Middleton, Tennessee.
Mhm.
Uh, but they did move the R&D to Atlanta. So I was not there when they built that magnificent facility they now have in Atlanta.
Understood. Yeah, yeah. So when you were going to college, I mean, did you grow up saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be an elevator person when
No,
I
no,
grow up"?
I mean, definitely not. I mean, I think it was more of a path of least resistance to get a job. My dad had worked there for a couple of years at that point, and yeah, I mean, it seemed interesting. I mean, I like mechanical things, and
Mhm.
elevators have a lot of mechanical parts to them, so it seemed like a good thing to at least get in and get experience in.
Yeah. What was your dad's role? I mean, was he in the field, in the office, in the
Yeah,
in the tower?
so he was in charge of he'd worked there a couple of years as a consultant in their process improvement. And
Okay.
then by the time I had started, he had moved into a role as um, managing their order management team. So when you're placing an order for something that goes into that group, and he was overseeing that at the time.
Very cool. Very cool. So had a little bit of an inside, to somebody that could at least put a word in, and
Yeah,
started out
yeah.
in Tennessee. And how long did you, I guess, work there before you started to like it? I mean, it's not uncommon for people to start a job out of college and go, "Oh my gosh, this is not for me."
Yeah. It was I'll never forget the first when I started. I would say, you're onboarding the typical corporate onboarding stuff, but a day or two, and then after that, they sent me out to the factory in the test tower for 2 weeks. So
Sweet.
I watched a guy build a geared machine and assemble it together. I'd see them form up steel for building a platform for an elevator. So it was kind of the intro was, hey, you go, here's, I did some layout drawing stuff to see what an elevator was, and then they sent me over to the field and the test tower for a couple of weeks to, this is what it is that you're seeing on a piece of paper. So really a fantastic onboarding experience for my first job.
So that kind of hooked you. Is it almost sounds like it's like this is amazing.
Yeah, it's fun, right? You get to and that's I did enjoy that role the 3 years I was in it, when especially I moved into a new product where it was, you're designing something on a computer in 3D modeling software, and then you're building the manufacturing prints, and you're going to go out and watch the people build it and put it together and find out where you messed
Right.
up.
Right. No, it's got to be really rewarding. My oldest son studied engineering for a couple of years, and he was just he kind of got disheartened when he realized that a lot of engineers never get to see what they're just drawing it or whatever, and it goes somewhere else, and they may never get to really witness it, but to watch the whole process got to be super exciting.
Yeah, a lot of oh yeah, it was the project. I was on one project for about a year and a half for a new product, and that was fantastic experience getting to start from the beginning all the way through going to our test tower to see a crew install it and take notes on. Oh, we need to tweak things a little bit to make improvements before we make this a release product.
That's very cool. How long did you work in Tennessee there in that environment?
Just over 3 years. So
Okay.
really kind of right at, I don't know, a year, 3 years in a month or so. And I was trying to, I never really saw myself staying in engineering my whole career. It's just
Sure.
not the ideal personality fit. I did always want to get into sales. But that was a challenge. I made it pretty clear for the last 6 months I was there. I'd like to move to work in a field office. I'm open to location. I'd like to go into a sales position. Um, and there really weren't any opportunities presented, which hence why when I was looking, Otis had a position for a project manager in new installation that I met, I met all the requirements, and I figured, hey, I can get into a field office and, move into sales on that path, right? Kind of another stepping stone.
Right, right, right. So is that what took you to California?
Yeah, it was. We were looking at my wife and I wanted to move out more west. So Denver at the time, we really wanted to move there. Seattle was another potential. San Francisco just kind of came up. Went out there, did an interview, and really enjoyed it. And figured, hey, let's take the risk and give it a try.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you love most about the West Coast? I mean, from what you told me, you grew up in Georgia, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely different. Growing up in Georgia, I still did a lot of outdoor activities, big into backpacking when I was younger. So I mean, really that's kind of what we do here. We just have access to a lot more and honestly just more comfortable weather to enjoy it more often. Um, yeah, I mean that's really what we love out here is just the access to just, world class, just natural beauty that's within 2-3 hours driving distance. So we end up doing a lot of vacations, like Lake Tahoe or the Northern California coast. We went to Yosemite last year. So those are kind of the things that we really love about this area.
Very
That
cool.
and the food. We're big into food, like to cook. So I mean it's kind of crazy. The farmers markets here, especially you go compared to other places, is you can buy anything and it's grown within 100 miles of here.
Wow,
Uh, so that's a big draw for us that we really enjoy as well.
that is awesome. So you don't see yourself coming back to Georgia anytime to stay long term.
Um, I never gonna rule that out. But it's obviously, if there's you tell me there's this great career opportunity that's, I'll pay you 3 times what you make. Well, okay, well that changes things. Sure, I'll move where you want me to. But no, I mean realistically, probably not.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that you found a place you love, and I mean, you've also told me that the elevator industry in particular is a little different in the Bay Area. Tell me more about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, and again, this is more, I don't have experience that much. I mean, I talk with other people from other places, but I think there's a couple things that make the market unique is that in a small geographic area, you have a very different feel and approach to how you would sell.
Right.
right? You might like San Francisco and San Jose, for example, lots of big property management companies. That's who you're going to be interfacing with, but you might be in the Oakland, Berkeley area, and it's maybe 50% or more of the time, you're talking with the owner of the building.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
so it's just it's fun because you kind of get to play a little bit different process depending on who you're selling to. So I think that's pretty unique. Um, the other piece that is especially San Francisco, somewhat Oakland, is we have a lot of old buildings, 100-plus-year-old buildings, very consistently like that. I think I know we mentioned basement drum elevators. I
Right.
think that you saw it in a museum post. Well, we have 70 plus of them. Um, which is always, it's something to see that this is literally over 100 years old, installed probably shortly, a lot of them installed after 1906, the fire and the earthquake.
Right.
Um, and they're still in operation. And those are probably my favorite modernizations to do as well, because those are, uh, they're similar, but none of them are the same. So you kind of always see something new with these old elevators.
So explain just a little bit to me, and partly because I'm a little bit ignorant when it comes to what is really done in a modernization. I mean, on one hand, my mind says, "Oh, you probably gut the shaft and you start from scratch," but a lot of times, somebody told me the other day, well, it's more about the controller, right? It's
Yeah.
more, if you're swapping out the controller, then hey, it's a modernization. So what I'm hearing though is the basement drum stays there. You'll do a
No,
mod.
we replace it. I mean, those are
Okay,
full.
okay,
It's almost we really call them a conversion because it's a drum. The difference in movement between a drum and a traction is different. So there's no
sure,
modern like a 1960s elevator. We can replace the machine. There's a very similar like for like conversion. With a
okay.
drum, it's custom application. So,
And that's what I
but
was going to ask is, yeah, how do you replace an old drum that's 100 years old? But I guess
yeah,
you don't.
so yeah, we don't. So at a bare minimum, it's all the mechanical components. But we've had times where either by customer request or because it has wooden rails, not steel,
Right,
we've done what is actually a new installation in an existing hoistway. Um, so yeah, every one is just so different. And then yeah, to go back to your question, modernization though can mean a lot of different things. In general, at a minimum, it's replacing your control system.
okay,
Um, right. Where you go from that is dependent on, well, something I'll ask the customers is what do you want the end result to be? Do you want it to perform like a brand new elevator? Well, you're going to be replacing a lot more. Or do you want to just get a modern controller so it has, boards and parts available in case stuff fails? Then we can go that route. But be aware you have all of these other systems that are 60, 70 years old.
right, right. No, it's fascinating. It's got to be fascinating just to see the history. I mean, if you're dealing with elevators that are that old and then obviously brand new cutting edge and everything in between, that's got to be, I think, a challenge from certainly from a service repair perspective. Because if you're not doing a modernization, well, then you may be repairing the old drum system, which is a little crazy in my mind.
Yeah. Again, we've done that before. So kind of just speaks to the quality of the people that we have in the field doing the work is they have experience with this. And we do have a lot of them on service that are 100% original and in general, outside of a major component failure, they're pretty reliable, just well made. They don't make stuff like this anymore.
Awesome. That's awesome. So what do you love most about the elevators, the elevator industry? I mean, you've obviously come, you've stayed. What have you come to love?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. I'd say probably what my favorites is the sales process with customers. My view has always been is it's my job because it's a niche market. Most people don't know anything about elevators. It's a
Sure.
box that takes me up and down. I don't think about it unless it's broken. So it's enjoyable for me to go and sit with customers and explain what they're getting and what they're looking for and the pros and cons of everything, and really just take a consultative approach and help them make the best decision that they can based on the information I give them. I may not always agree with the decision, but
Sure.
at least my job is to help them at least have some information so they can make a decision.
Right.
Um, And I'd say the other part is I really enjoy the team aspect internally at the company. Just the time the partnership that we have between our operations people and the sales staff, and how when issues occur, we all take a little piece of the problem and work together and come up with a solution. So the teamwork aspects is a lot of fun, and it's really rewarding.
So tell me a little bit more about that, because what I want to dig into just a little bit is, you worked for a very large company, but then you've also worked for a smaller company, and then you left and you went back, and maybe that's a unique pathway, but you've kind of seen both.
Mhm.
Tell me about the difference between teamwork and one versus the other in your experience.
Yeah, it's I have been fortunate enough working when I was at TK doing modernization sales. I was pretty fortunate to have a really good operations team.
Mm,
So I really I think it's dependent on your situation where you go. Um, you know, it's really about people, not what products you're selling.
true.
Better people are going to provide better service to customers than whichever product you want to tell me is this much better than that product. So I've had a good experience. I think a big difference though is just kind of flexibility in how you run the business. There's not a lot of an independent. Um, we don't dig quite as much into, oh, well, we're only at, X% margin on this job. We really can't offer them that free 2 hours of standby versus, an independent. It's like, well, we want to keep this customer happy, want to have them forever on service. It's worth it if this makes them happy, it's a small price to pay. And you can just go ahead and do it. No approvals, no
Sure.
anything like that. And I think that makes it a lot. I guess it shifts your focus on, the end goal is customer satisfaction, not
Right.
purely, how much money can we make on this one little piece of the pie.
Right. Well, if you're worried about, I guess, winning X margin on every single interaction, it's a little harder to pay it forward, to go out of
Yeah.
your way and allow them to see it, because you're not, if it comes down to that much. But um, do you find that you're able to do that a lot more and still be profitable?
Yeah, absolutely. Because with that comes opportunities that you would have never had. There are plenty of customers we've had where we've done one modernization with them, for example. It went well. And then 3 years down the road, we've picked up four other service accounts, and they're telling us to give them a bid on another modernization that they're not even going to take out to bid because they trust us and know
They
that we'll
trust you.
do a good job. So
Yeah.
it's really kind of you really want to be thinking, well, if you play the long-term game, you're not going to really have to worry about, squeezing this much more on every little sale. Is that, you're just going to win the work organically.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where because of your flexibility, you were able to win an account or win the mod, or maybe they needed, some kind of, hey, can you do something a little more custom around this, and so can't do it, but if you can do it, we're going to give you the business.
Yeah, yeah. I think, definitely on some of the more challenging projects, basement drums or other very difficult projects. You have flexibility with kind of your pricing, the billing structure. We can be more flexible with that on. Not that we're not in the business of loaning money, but we're willing to, you know, not ask for 50% up front, and you have to
So
pay
yeah,
us.
what does that look like? What can you do that maybe you couldn't do at some of the others?
I think a lot of it I probably could do, but it gets to a point, especially as a rep, that um, a lot of noise around you at once, and sometimes it's just you don't have the time to go through the multiple levels of approval to get something to say, hey, they're willing to do this, but they're only willing to give us 10% down. We can structure the payments like this, and they'll accept it. Items like that is just it's a lot cleaner when it's one quick phone call to my boss or that, and hey, this makes sense, let's do it, and away we go.
So it's not that maybe others can't, as much as, like you say, you got a special approval, got some red tape, and is the rep really willing to fight for that? It if it's that big of a fight, well, I could probably be out doing some other things, and maybe this one's not worth. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's probably the biggest thing, and that's something I've seen is probably the biggest difference is the amount of time that I can spend on, value added things for the customer or getting actionable items done within the company is, that's what I spend all my time on.